Hello, so let's get started. Greetings. I'm actually in Sao Paulo, Brazil, visiting the country and doing interviewing here for round 2. So hopefully you can hear me. I'm dialing in from, as I said, Sao Paulo, so just checking the sound. Anyway, welcome to our admissions process and tips for successful application webinar. My name is Cathryn Noyes. I work on the admissions team for the MIT Sloan Fellows program. This is my 4th class that I am placing, so I have been with the program for quite some time and know many of the fellows, so I have been here a while and know the fellows and the program quite well, and hopefully can answer your questions. So let's get started. A few questions, a few suggestions. Please mute your phone so that you're not distracting everyone else. I have muted everyone, but I keep hearing sounds. So please make sure you mute it. If you're on video, you may want to turn it off. If you have questions, you can enter them in the chat box and send them to everyone, please. So everyone can see the questions. When I answer them, they'll know what question I'm answering. Thank you. What we're going to be talking about today, I'm going to start with a little background on MIT Sloan and the Sloan Fellows program. Talk about the criteria, what are we looking for? And then we'll delve into each of the steps in the application process and the requirements for the application. Some information on next steps, and then I will answer any questions at the end. Please feel free to enter your questions as we go along, and I'll try to answer them. Can everybody hear me? Okay, please just send me a text if you can hear me. So the first thing I want to talk about is the mission of MIT. So MIT's been around a long time, always with the goal of advancing knowledge in science, technology, and other areas. And the goal has really always been to serve the nation and the world in improving society, not just changing, but improving. The mission of MIT Sloan is to develop leaders in the business world who can improve the world, take technology and commercialize it, work with organizations that can improve the world via new technology or new systems, fintech, connecting people to the web, and so forth. Specifically, the MIT Sloan Fellows program really works with mid-career executives to develop principled, innovative leaders that have a global perspective and an innovative outlook that can transform some of the world's most important organizations. So we have people from lots of companies, organizations that have the opportunity to really make an impact in the world. And we're hoping to develop leaders for those. So here's a look at how we fit into the portfolio. These are all of the programs that Sloan offers. We have some, the undergrad program and then other master's programs. But we have 3 MBA programs. One is the 2-year MBA, which is really geared towards people that are earlier in their careers, have an average of about 4 or 5 years of experience. And we have 2 mid-career MBAs. The executive MBA is an executive format 20-month MBA. They meet for a weekend every 3 weeks and 1 week every 6 months. So some people are not able to hear me. I think the problem is on your end because other people are telling me they can hear me. So please check on your end, make sure that your audio is set up correctly. The Sloan Fellows program is a 1-year residential program. You come and are fully immersed in the program. Both of our executive programs are just as academically rigorous as the 2-year MBA. They're not lighter or have less content. They're just delivered in different formats. And for the Sloan Fellows program, it's a really accelerated program. You do all the requirements for the 2-year MBA, but in 1 year instead of 2. So a closer look at the Sloan Fellows MBA. What is it? It's a 12-month full-time MBA program. If you choose to do a thesis, you can earn a Master of Science in Management or a Master of Science in Management of Technology, depending on what their thesis is on. You're fully immersed. You live here for a year. You're in this incredible environment, this dynamic, exciting environment where innovations are happening every day, where people are really involved in doing exciting things. And it really helps you to see yourself and the world in a different way, and helps you to step back and unplug from your normal life and what your company, the companies that you've worked in, have always done things. So you're really pulling away and looking at new ways of approaching and tackling challenges rather than the way your company has always done it. The curriculum is very flexible. There are many options to customize your academic experience. There's electives, there's project learning programs, there's research options, conferences, many, many ways to really customize your learning experience. And while you're here, you'll develop a lot of very strong relationships in this diverse community, both professional, you'll build a strong professional network, but you also build very strong personal relationships in your Sloan Fellows community and beyond. You have access to the resources of MIT and the Sloan School and Harvard. We do have a connection with Harvard. We can take classes there, and they can take classes at MIT. So it really allows you to build networks across these institutions and also in the wider ecosystem of Boston and Cambridge. You work with faculty who are very willing to work with fellows, and you can conduct research that's really cutting edge and innovative. What I hear from a lot of the alums who I speak to after they have graduated is that this is really a unique opportunity for families to have an incredible experience living here in the United States for a year with a very diverse group of people from around the world. And their recommendation to incoming fellows is to make this a real family adventure. So it's not just about the fellow having this academic experience, but it's really about the whole family having this experience here. We have a lot of events for families. There's a lot of social events that the fellows do themselves. So it's really an amazing adventure for everyone and not just the fellow. So the program is based on what we call the 3 pillars or areas of focus for the program: leadership, innovation, and the global perspective. So to start with, leadership underlies everything we do. We're really looking to help every fellow develop their own individual leadership skills and to maximize their leadership abilities in whatever way they want to do it. Everyone leads in a different way. We provide tools and access to other leaders, opportunities to learn from other leaders who've had challenging experiences, leadership that can work in a global environment, so you really understand how other people do things in different environments, in different companies. You get to hear from people in different industries, and it really sort of helps you think about, reflect, and develop your own personal leadership style that is effective. Secondly, we teach you how to lead innovative activities. So you can be a champion for innovation in your own organization or in your own startup. We help you to sort of demystify the innovation process. It's not some talent that you're born with, but it is actually a process that you can learn and apply to develop innovation in your own organization. And lastly, the diversity of the group is really something of great value to help you develop a perspective on global issues and how economic, social, and political factors can impact strategy and other decisions that you have. You learn from your classmates that are from many different countries on how to conduct business in different countries, what is the normal way to do business. They can make connections for you, help you understand what the expectations are. So you really have some confidence performing in different multicultural business environments. And you'll develop an amazing network of colleagues and resources and friends that are global. So who are we looking for? We require at least 10 years of professional work experience post-college. So if you've worked before college, that doesn't count. So it's 10 years of professional work experience with demonstrated advancement and proven impact in leadership during those 10 years. We're also looking to make sure you can master the rigorous academic curriculum, and we look for strong quantitative skills. And those are generally demonstrated with your GPA, your undergraduate work, and your GMAT or executive assessment score. We also are looking for people who have innovated in their organization and tackled difficult challenges, people who really step up and take on things that are challenging and difficult. And we really appreciate the global perspective. So international experience working with multicultural teams is very helpful to your application. It's also very important that you can communicate effectively in English, in orally written, and in speaking. We expect fellows to participate in a class, to raise their hand and join in the discussion, as that is a major part of the learning. And lastly, we really want people who are self-aware, who have some ideas about what they need to develop to be the most effective leader. We hope that this is a year for real self-reflection and growth. Thinking about yourself, learning from others, thinking about your leadership style and how you can be most effective, and really being open to that journey. So let's talk about the admissions process. We have 3 phases of the process. The first is completing the online application. Tell us about yourself. Tell us your story. The second is in-person interviews. These are required. They're by invitation only and by a member of the admissions committee. So we do not do them by Skype. We do not do them with alumni representatives. The person interviewing you will be someone on the admissions committee. After everyone has been interviewed in a round, we have a final review by the admissions committee, who reviews each applicant in the context of the entire pool. So here's some general tips. Make sure your application demonstrates the key competencies that we're looking at, in addition to evidence of an innovative and global perspective. So we want a description with examples of your leadership abilities and potential, the impact you've made on your organizations, and how well you can work in a multicultural and diverse environment. Provide examples, not just generalizations. And think carefully about why you want to come to a program like this, and take time to put together a thoughtful application. Sometimes people do not really spend a lot of time on the application, and we can tell, and wonder about how serious you are to coming here. So take your time, think about it, and give some time to making a thoughtful application and deciding why you want to come and what you hope to get out of this program. Follow all the directions regarding word limits, deadlines, videos. So people who run too long in the essays, who don't follow the directions, who don't do what we ask, it can cause a problem. We wonder, why aren't they following the directions? They're very clear on the application that we want this to be 60 seconds. We want this to be 500 words. We want you to upload it this way. We want, because we have many applications to read through, everyone needs to be consistent. And when you don't follow the directions, then you stand out. The bottom line is that this is your chance to really tell us about yourself. Be authentic. Tell us really and truly what you think, not just what you think we want to hear. Be authentic. Be real. So let's look closer at the application requirements for Phase 1. These are the requirements for the application. I'll address each one individually. So we have a resume, a cover letter, an essay, 2 letters of recommendation, a video statement, an organization chart, all of your transcripts, which must be in English. So if they're not in English, they need to be translated. We also require a score from the GMAT, the GRE, or the new executive assessment. We are no longer doing waivers, and there's also an application fee as well. So let's look closer at each of these pieces. The first is a resume. So it needs to be a business resume, not an academic resume. Often we'll get 20-page resumes from academics listing every article they've written, and it's really geared more towards an academic audience. We do not want that. We want a business resume that focuses on your business experience. It does not have to be limited to one page. Many people will try to cut out a lot of things so it fits on one page, but we don't expect a one-page resume from people at this level of their career. 2 pages should be fine. It doesn't have to be a page, but please be concise. Sometimes I get 5, 6, 7, 8 pages of resume, and that's really not what we're looking for. If possible, try to keep it short and concise. Include your employment history from beginning with most recent employment to your oldest employment. Make sure you indicate the company, the dates you served, and your title. The second requirement is a cover letter. This is your chance to really convince us why you deserve a place in the class. Share your objectives with us and how we can help you get there. Your letter should look like a standard business correspondence. It's addressed to our senior director and give some examples that illustrate why you should have a class and how you meet the criteria. The next one is a written essay. We give the question right up front so you know exactly what we're looking for. First piece of advice is to answer the question. A lot of people, they want to convey something specific, so they'll try to respond with what they want to tell us, but they're really not answering the question. So that's the first piece of advice, is just answer the question that you've been given. The next requirement are 2 letters of recommendation. This year, for the first time, we are using the common letter of recommendation. So that's done through GMAC. You provide us with the names of your recommenders, and we will contact them and have them fill out this letter. There's a lot of questions that they're asked in terms of how you relate to others, and then there's an opportunity for them to give us an open response. And there's a link here to get more information on that. Now, what we're looking for are recommenders who can provide firsthand experience and a discussion about your professional experience, your success, your impact, your leadership, and performance in the job. It doesn't help to have someone with a great title that doesn't really know you, because they're not going to be able to convey what we're looking for. Do not ask professors to write their recommendations. Some people always do, and they're not very helpful, because the professors generally talk about how you were in class and how you were a leader in your class, and that's really not helpful. We're looking for business recommendations with examples on the impact you've done in your organization and how you have addressed challenges in the past. You should prepare your recommenders with information about the Sloan Fellows program, talk about your objectives so that they really understand what we're looking for. If you're going to be sponsored by your company, one of the recommendations must come from your immediate supervisor. The letter should talk about how you were nominated for the program and their willingness to provide you with a leave of absence and work with you to develop a position that you can return to that would be significant for you. So have them confirm that you are sponsored and how you were selected. Lots of companies do them differently. Some have hundreds or even thousands will apply for the sponsorship, and then they're selected from that group. Others will tap people on the shoulder and tell them that you have been selected. So we'd like to understand how that process works in your company. The next requirement is a video statement. Now, people tend to get really uptight about this requirement. It's only 60 seconds. And we don't share it with anyone. It's just for the admissions team. So at 60 seconds, the camera is on you. We're looking for a single take, or we don't want this professionally edited recommenders. We don't want this professionally edited statement. We want it to be you talking in the camera. Don't show us pictures and things like that. We don't want a voice overlay. We want to see you. Make sure you have good sound. Sometimes it's difficult to hear some of them. So it's only 60 seconds. Pretend you're standing in front of the class, introducing yourself. to the class for the first time, maybe a little bit of information about your professional background and your, what you like to do in your free time. I have a question about recommenders that don't speak English. They can use a translator if they wish. We actually ask them on the recommendation if they have used a translator, and they can check yes or no. We understand that a lot of recommenders don't speak English very well and may not have perfect English or writing, but that's okay. We understand that. So don't be worried if their English is not perfect. That's not any kind of reflection on your abilities, but you are able to use translators if you wish. The next piece is the organization chart. We just want to see generally a chart of your organization and where you fit. Who do you report to? Who reports to you? And one thing, make it easy to find you on the chart. Sometimes people will just put up the name of the organization, but they don't. I have to do a lot of searching to see, like, well, where are you on this chart? So make it very clear. We're just looking for the size of the organization, who you're reporting to, how many report to you, that sort of thing. So make it very easy to find and clear. The next piece are the transcripts. So scan and upload transcripts from all the schools you've attended. If they're not in English, submit the original and the certified translation. I have a special issue with Indian transcripts. Are often people try to upload transcripts that are very difficult to read. So they would have a semester grade sheet for each semester that lists like groups of topics rather than actual courses. So I'd really like people that are submitting transcripts from India to sort of summarize what they are and what the grades are so that we can see, evaluate them more readily. The next requirement is a assessment score. So they're valid for 5 years. We want GMAT or GRE or the new executive assessment. We have no waivers, and if you have been granted a waiver in an earlier cycle, that will not be considered. Everyone must submit a score. So because the executive assessment is new, I wanted to give you a little more information on what it is. So a few years ago, the Graduate Management Admissions Council, which also does the GMAT, started working on this assessment for mid-career executives. They didn't think that the GMAT was really geared towards them. They're really geared towards people that are earlier out of school. They take a lot of time to prepare for. So this is really an assessment readiness to see if you're ready at a mid-career level to take a course like this. We look for readiness, relevance. It's very convenient. It's much shorter. It's only 90 minutes. It takes less preparation than the GMAT. The GMAT folks tell us it takes, the GMAT executive assessment people tell us it takes a weekend in preparation. I've heard from others that it takes a little bit longer. So allow yourself some time to prepare, but it's not as intensive as the GMAT preparation. MIT was one of the schools that was that worked with them to design this. So there were certain selective executive MBA programs that worked with GMAT to develop this, and more schools are using it every year. This is what it looks like. It's a 90-minute test. There are 3 sections: verbal, quantitative, and integrated reasoning. Each one is 30 minutes. I think there's a total of 40 questions altogether. It only takes 90 minutes for the test. And it's really developed for people in mid-career executive degrees, so executive MBAs, Sloan Fellow programs, MBA programs that are geared towards mid-career executives. We're looking at readiness. How ready are you for this program? 90 minutes, 40 questions. It's geared towards the executive population. It really helps us compare you to other executives in your in the pool. Have a few questions. One is what's considered a good score for the executive assessment. So this year is a good year to take the test. It's the first time we've taken it. We do not have a recommendation for an average or a range. Just take it, and we'll be evaluating how well we think the assessment works this year. There was another question about recommenders. Sometimes we frequently have people who are CEOs or, they're at the top of their organization and they don't have anyone that they report to. In that case, you still need your 2 recommenders, but you might ask somebody on the board, or you might ask a client who's worked with you for a long time, someone who can assess your impact on the organization, your professionalism, your performance, and your leadership. The best recommenders are your superiors or former superiors, but that is not always possible. Let's look at phase 2. After you've submitted the online application, we review the entire pool. We read every application, and then we decide who we're going to interview. Interviews are by invitation only, and they're with a member of the admissions committee. We do not do them by Skype. If you're selected for an interview, we'll send you an invitation via mail. We have interviews in Cambridge always, and in multiple locations around the world. So I'm currently in Brazil, and I have just completed round 2 South American interviews. Our director just got back from Europe. She was in Europe doing the European and British applications, and our senior director was in India and Asia doing those, and we have people in Cambridge doing those now. When all the interviews are completed, the admissions committee meets together and decides as a group who to make offers to for admission based on the whole pool. We evaluate each person in the whole pool. Please send all of your questions to everyone, not privately. I'm not going to answer any questions sent privately. Everyone should see the questions. So this is a schedule. We've already completed round 1. We're just at the end of round 2. And round 3, the deadline for submission is February 12th, and we will be conducting interviews in February and March. If you are invited for an interview, you will be asked to submit an additional essay about how your goals and experiences align with the mission of our school. So phase 3, after everyone's done, we look at all of the applicants in the pool, as I said, and we really look at them holistically. So there's no one requirement that's going to make you absolutely accepted or absolutely rejected. For instance, if your GMAT score is low, you can explain perhaps why you think that is not a good indicator of your academic potential if you wish. And we also look more on your the whole candidate. So have you accomplished a lot in your organization? Have you led large multicultural teams, that kind of thing? And we really look at two dimensions. One is demonstrated success in the workplace, your academic abilities, your leadership abilities, and the success and impact you've had in your work life. Secondly is your personal attributes. We're really looking for people who are collaborative, who are open, who are able to work well in a team, who can communicate with others, can solve complex problems. They look at innovative ways to solve challenges, and they're driven to achieve their goals. So we're really looking at professional success, but also what would make you a good fellow. I have a question that someone has a business experience of 9 years and 10 months. It's possible for you to apply. You need to have 10 years by when the program starts. It will, however, put you on the low end of the pool. So our average years of experience is 14, and the range is wider than that. So people with barely 10 years have a harder time demonstrating the impact and the leadership that we're looking for. It is possible. Many organizations very progressively and aggressively create their leadership talent pool and rotate them through very challenging assignments. So it's possible. But it also can put you at a disadvantage if you have not been able to achieve the impact that others have made. So think carefully about whether you think you can demonstrate significant impact. You may want to wait a year or two to make sure you have the experience that we're looking for. So it's not just 10 years, but we're also looking at the impact and the challenges you solved and the teams you've led and so forth in those 10 years. The average GMAT is about 680 for the cohort. In past years, we've had many waivers, but the average of those who did not get waivers was 680. And I'm not sure what you mean about does any phase of the process have priority. I think you're asking, does round 1, 2, or 3 have more priority? And the answer is no. It's always best to apply early, I think, but you're not at a disadvantage around 2 or 3 at this point. We don't have any preference for various backgrounds. They're very, very diverse. If you go on the website, you can see the fellows, the current class of fellows, and also back to 2007. You can see what industries they're from and what countries they're from. They're very different. We have people from law, from medical backgrounds, technology. They work in telecom. They work in oil and gas. They're very different. This is not a STEM program, so that will have an impact on visas. It is not a STEM program. You did have the option for a 1-year OPT, which is the optional professional training. That's 1 year. The STEM program allows you to stay longer, but we are not a STEM program. If you're rejected, you definitely can reapply. If you don't think you can submit a strong application for the next round, which ends February 12th, you might want to consider waiting to deliver a stronger application next year. It's not great to sort of try to rush through and submit a weak application, but we don't necessarily hold it against you if you've been rejected. However, I would say that it's the same admissions team. We're looking for the same things. And if you've been rejected for reasons of, say, you don't have enough, we don't see the impact, we don't see the advancement, we don't see the leadership that we see in other candidates, then you're likely to get the same answer next year as you do this year, because application for next year, it's April now, the first round is September, 6 months away. Sometimes people will be rejected because they just don't have enough time. They've only got 8 years, 9 years. They really haven't demonstrated. We think you're really good, but you're not ready yet. Please send your questions to everyone. I'm not answering anything from privately because I want people to be able to see the questions. Okay. So let's look at the dates and deadlines. As I said, we're just wrapping up the round 2 interviews now. We'll be releasing decisions on February 14th. The next round is February 12th. So you still have time, but it's pretty tight. And we will let everyone know by March 28th. This is getting pretty tight on the deadline. If you're accepted, students that come here will be attending an April orientation beginning the week of April 13th. So it doesn't give you a lot of time, but it's still possible. So now I'll answer any questions that people have. Please send them to everyone. Again, I don't want to answer questions privately because nobody else can see the question. People applying for we don't share the number of people that are applying. I would say if you're a strong candidate and you really are fulfilling all their criteria, it's pretty likely that we will accept you. We're really looking to take the people that would make good fellows, and that means that the class size might vary from year to year. We're looking for the best fellows that we can get. For financial support, you can go online and see some of the financial support that we offer. In general, I will tell you that the admissions committee offers about 15% of the incoming class scholarships. The largest that we offer is $25,000 to an applicant. There are other sources of income that are discussed on the website. One of our offices manages scholarships from other organizations. For example, the Egyptian government gives out 10 full scholarships to fellows and students at MIT who are residents of Egypt and are looking to make an impact in the country when they return, generally in the nonprofit sector, trying to help the organization. There is no percentage breakdown of the class by round. We just take the strongest applicants in each round. So there are plenty of openings for those who are applying right now. Anyone have any other questions? So the OTP. OTP is the optional professional training. Students that wish to stay in the U.S. can apply for this. It's a one-year program. JD, please send your questions to everyone. I'm not answering any questions privately, so I want everyone to see the questions. So if you have a question, please re-enter it to everyone. So students, they're starting to work with our visa expert now. If you want an OPT extension, you can apply for it, and you have 1 year to stay in the United States. There are some requirements. You have to really be careful about your deadlines. You have to, I think, apply within a certain number of days of when you graduate. It's good for 1 year, and there's just specific requirements. But we have a visa person from the International Students Office that will come and make presentations to you and explain what the requirements are and how it works. One note that if you've already gone through the OPT program, so if you already had an OPT session for your another master's degree, then you can only do it once. If you had an OPT stay after your undergraduate degree, I believe you can get another OPT, but not if you've already had one after a master's degree. But I am not the visa expert. We do have somebody on staff that would help all students with this. Jaydeep, I'm not sure what your question is. It looks like a statement. You have no one reporting to you. And I believe I already answered the executive assessment and the GMAT. If you have both, we'll look at them both. They both provide information about your academic preparation. So if you have both, then by all means submit both, and they'll be part of your application. Does anyone else have any other questions? So resources available to get placement. So we do not do recruiting for this program because it doesn't make any sense. We have a very diverse class from different countries, different levels, different organizations, and it doesn't make any sense. We can't bring in companies that are looking to hire at this level. So what we do instead is we have a career development office, and all their resources are available to you as they are to everyone else. But the focus for fellows is really to help them understand where they want to go and to help to support them in their career search. So we will do webinar or information sessions with all the fellows on, say, how to create your LinkedIn, how we'll bring people in from executive search firms to discuss how search firms in the United States work. We will provide you with opportunities to network with executive MBA, with other people in the school, with Harvard students, so you can really start building your network. And it really all comes around to you have to drive your own career services, your own career search. We are going to help support you, help you to clarify your goals, and provide you the experience to position yourself well in the market so that when you graduate, you have assembled the right experiences and academic skills to get the position that you want. We have an academic coach. We have a leadership coach. We have someone who's running the project-based learning or action learning. And she's really works with the fellows to help them understand, what are you trying to achieve in your year here? How can we help you to put together experiences, classes to help you to position yourself to be successful when you leave? Question from Brian. You've submitted your EA scores. You're taking the GMAT. You can send your GMAT, but the deadline is the 12th. So it's likely that we usually at the deadline we assign all the applications. We start reading them. So you can send your update to the admissions committee, and we'll make it part of your file and look at that. Are there classes that only MIT Sloan students can take? Not sure what the question is. The entire core is available to only Sloan Fellows. So all of the core curriculum, only Sloan Fellows can sign up for. All the electives are open to anyone in Sloan. So in your elective, you may be with PhD students, with two-year MBA students, with Master of Finance students, with Harvard students. So that is a mix of classes. The core is just for fellows. When we're talking about return on investment in MIT, some people ask that, and in information sessions as I travel, I always bring a panel of alumni, local alumni to come, and they always kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say roll their eyes really, but it's not really about ROI. So I know two-year MBA programs do a lot of tracking of salaries when they come in and salaries when they leave, and that is not really that applicable in this case because it's not really about the salary. And most alum will tell you that it doesn't really hit you, the impact of this program doesn't always hit you until several years out when you're saying, oh my gosh, you know, here I am, I never would have gotten this far without the program. And it also gives you a lifetime network. You can come back as an alum and take some classes in January. You have this network that will help you forever. So I see alums that graduated in 2001, 2006 saying, I am still very tight with my class. If I have any professional questions, I call them. We meet regularly. We invest in each other's business. We give each other advice. So it's not something you can always measure in dollars or salary when you leave. So the return on investment is something that lasts for a very long time. And I think if you talk to any alumni, they would tell you that same thing. So applicants come from diverse backgrounds, but there are no applicants with zero experience in business. Well, it really depends on your background. You have to have 10 years of professional work experience. So I'm not sure what you mean if zero experience in business. Sometimes we get doctors who have maybe only worked in the medical field, and that is not always the best preparation, or say lawyers who've only been doing legal work. We're looking for people with a business focus. So perhaps in the legal field, they were really involved in working with maybe private equity companies and have started to work with them on a more strategic level, or doctors who are really looking to sort of reshape healthcare, or they've been looking into commercializing technology. So it really depends on your background, but you need to have at least 10 years of professional experience. The school characteristics of MIT, I would say people that come to MIT and visit, the thing that really strikes them is the camaraderie and the lack of competitiveness that is here, the collaboration, that sense of the community and caring that is here. So when students come and they visit a class, they're always very excited about the quality of the discussion and the professors. We have some amazing professors here. I'm sure many other schools do. But I think the difference is that the Sloan Fellows tend to be a very close bunch. They're very supportive of each other. There's a lot of teamwork. Their slogan is "No Fellow Left Behind," and they really do work with each other to help everyone complete requirements, to help them learn, to participate in each other's ventures and learn from each other. So I think that is probably the biggest difference that I've heard when people look at other schools. Average age is 38. The range is probably early 30s to early 50s. Any last questions? To Sastry, working as a program manager. We have some great candidates from big firms, so there's plenty of opportunities to innovate in a big firm. Did you introduce a new way of doing things? Did you establish maybe a department and change the culture? Have you been instrumental in any kind of change of culture or strategy? Have you designed strategy? Have you led teams? We're looking for those kinds of things. And we would expect that perhaps you've had global assignments where you've led new opportunities. So that's what we're looking for. In terms of programs or activities for families or spouses, we have many. We really look at our Sloan Fellow community as a community. It includes partners and children. Right now we have over 100 children in the program. The program office does a lot of events during the year, cookouts. We have an offsite at a country club in the summer where we invite all the families and all the fellows and their families to come, and they swim and play tennis and they have fun. We have barbecues. We have Halloween parties. We have lots of sessions, and most of them are for families. We'll often hire a company to entertain the kids at these sessions so the fellows can also sort of mingle with adults while we have someone play with the kids. So those are sort of official ones, but unofficially, the partners develop a very strong connection with one another. Their children become friends. So it's an incredibly wonderful thing to see. The kids learn English very quickly. They make friends with people from all different countries. I just ran into a fellow last week from Brazil, and he became very close with one of the Japanese fellows who had a son the same age as his, and they would ski every weekend. And they were the kids were so upset to be losing their friends. I mean, they really make some great friends. They have this wonderful experience, and then they go back home. But the good thing is that you have a network around the world. Go visit people, stay with people. Personally, I was just in Peru staying with an alumni from Sloan Fellows 2016, another from 2017. I've gotten to know them while they were here at MIT, and they become very good friends. And I stayed with them in Lima before coming here. And for the fellows, those connections are even stronger. So the partners usually have an amazing experience, a wonderful time. There's lots of opportunities to get involved as a parent with children or through the community. Many partners take classes together. Harvard Extension is a popular place to take the classes, but they usually have an amazing experience. Any other last questions before I go? Okay, well, thank you so much for your time. If you have any other questions, please reach out to the admissions committee. We do have an email that you can direct your questions to. I'm typing in the address right now. So if you have any questions, please reach out to this email address. We're always happy to respond to your questions. We do have a few weeks before the next deadline, and we welcome your applications. If you have any problems or questions, please let us know. And I hope this session was helpful to you, and we're very happy to answer any questions you have going forward. So thank you so much for your time, and we hope to hear from you in the future. Take care.